If you've been kicked out of home, the first thing to do is to make yourself safe. This may mean finding friends or family you trust who can put you up until you can contact the council, even if it's only for 1 or 2 nights. If you don't have anyone you can stay with, you should contact your council's out-of-hours number, which will be on their website. Rough sleeping is not an option. It's incredibly dangerous and shouldn't ever be considered. As soon as you can, you need to speak to someone at your council. When you go to the council, they will want to complete an assessment. This is nothing to be scared of, but will involve being asked some very personal questions. Whatever happens at the end of this, you should have somewhere safe to stay at the end. But first, you'll probably have to make some decisions. As part of the assessment, a social worker will be trying to find out whether you are considered a child in need. But don't let that put you off. No one's expecting you to do a fun run with Pudsey the bear. Child in need is a legal term which can include 16 to 17-year-olds who have nowhere to live. You will be a child in need if you appear to need accommodation because the person who has been caring for you can no longer provide you with a home or care. It doesn't matter whether this is a permanent situation or for what reason you've had to leave home. An important part of the child in need assessment is what you want to happen. The council will often talk about a children's services route and a housing route. If you're 16 or 17, either departments should help you find a place to live. Housing may also want to do a slightly different assessment at the same time, and you may have to speak to more than one person. There are some benefits of going to children's services, which you might not get if you go to housing. If you can, get independent advice to help you decide which route to go down. For example, you can speak to shelter or the Citizens Advice Bureau. Let's look at the 2 options. Children's services should provide accommodation if you are a child in need. This is likely to be in a hostel or other supported housing. It's unlikely it will be a foster home or a children's home, unless you tell them you would like to live there. But you should always tell them what you want, even if they're not able to give it to you. Some of the benefits of children's services support are they can find you a place to live and pay for it. They can help you get into training and education. They'll give you a personal advisor to give you support. The advisor will stay in touch until you no longer need them, even after you reach 18. They can help you with other issues, such as drug or alcohol problems. They'll pay you an equivalent amount to what you would get if you were claiming benefits until you're 18. Some children's services support continues up to the age of 21 and up to 24 if you're in education or training. If you decide that you would prefer not to become a child in need and go down the children's services route, you should still be helped with somewhere safe to stay. Housing may just provide the accommodation, which could be supported housing, a hostel, or where there is no other option, a room in a bed and breakfast for a short time. But they might also provide some support. You will have to pay your rent, but Housing Benefit will probably pay some or all of this if you aren't working. You will also have to claim benefits if you do not have any other income. Some people think that choosing the housing route means you can be more independent. This is not necessarily the case, and it could be that housing will provide similar accommodation, but with less support. Whichever route you choose, housing or children's services, they will want to check if you can go back home. But don't worry, they can't force you to go back home, especially if it isn't safe because of violence or abuse. It's very important that you tell the person who interviews you about these things. If you're not ready to talk about all your experiences, then say so. But you will need to provide enough information to explain how you became homeless, so they can assess your situation. If it is safe, you should consider whether going home may be a better option. Living on your own is very difficult, and many young people find it lonely or scary, and have difficulty managing things like money. It's hard enough when you're 40, let alone 17. The council may be able to help you work out problems that you're having with your family through a mediation service. where you all sit down with someone who's independent and discuss some of the problems you've been having with each other. But not in a Jeremy Kyle way. Well, unless you really want to. Even if you and your parents do agree to talk, the council should still give you a place to stay while this is sorted out. If you think you need more support with this, or are unsure about anything, you should contact the shelter helpline on 0808 800 4444. I know this is a difficult time. There's a lot going on and it can be really confusing. But the decisions you make now will have an impact for many years to come. It's your future. These are your choices.